there's been a lot of tight hip flexors in my classes the past couple of weeks, which means that when you try and do a few of the moves, your movement's a bit restricted, or you try and overcompensate, which means you're putting yourself out of alignment or causing yourself some problems further down the line. So to help really improve your technique, I just really want to spend a bit of time just going through just a few simple hip flexor release stretches you can do either before class or do them a few times during the week or even every day, so that when you come to class and over time you really start to feel a lot less tighter in those front of those hips here. So the first one, most of them are on our knees, so if you have a problem with your knees, roll up a towel. You can roll up your mat and kneel on your mat if you wish as well, just to protect those knees, okay? But we're on our knees, tummy's drawn in, nice and straight, okay? And we keep that knee directly underneath this hip and we take the opposite leg out at a right angle, okay? So your kneeling knee is right under your hip and you're at right angles, your feet flat on the floor. And you basically look to the front and you pull you sort of tuck your hip bone under, you're sort of pressing out, and you should feel, particularly if you're tight, you should feel a little bit of a stretch here. If you can't, you can play with it a bit. You can send your body forward a tiny bit to see until you get that stretch there. Tummy's drawn in, facing forward, stretch through the front of that hip. And you hold it there for about 20 seconds, breathing into that stretch and out, not overstretching, just holding. And if it gives pretty quickly, you pull the tummy muscles in, lean forward a bit more and get a little bit more out of that stretch. While you're in this position, you can do another sort of stretch again where you take this front foot out a little bit more forward. And the reason I say that is we're going to bend that knee. But when we bend that knee, we don't want it to track over the front of the foot, okay? So you want that knee to come over, but never over the too far front of that front foot, okay? So you've now got an angle on that back leg, and you can lean forward and get a lot more stretch, okay, as you lean forward. You can, if that feels particularly flexible for you, you can go onto the inside of that front foot with your palms and sort of take your chest down a little lower for a deeper groin stretch. And if you're particularly flexible, obviously it's not for everybody, but it's a goal you can all work for, you can take your elbows down to the mat as well. Okay, so that's one exercise that you can do there. Make sure that when you get out of the exercise, you come out of it the way you went into it. So come up, hands, walk them in. And if you want, while you're here, never one to waste an opportunity, you can flex that, straighten and flex on that front. So straighten the leg, flex the foot, take the heel, take the chest to the top of the thighs for a hamstring stretch. Then you bring those knees back and you go on the other side. So take that foot again out at right angles. Okay, so right angle, that back knee underneath that hip. And you push your hips forward until you feel that stretch. Tummy's drawn in, shoulders back and down until you feel that stretch. And as I said, if you can't feel that stretch there, play with it a little bit, just stretch forward a little bit or tilt those hips just a little bit more. And when you've got that stretch, you just hold it and breathe nice and calmly in through the nose and out through the mouth. And breathe, that lovely air goes in. Visualize you're breathing into that stretch and hold it there for about 20 seconds. And again, as on the other leg, you may want to give yourself a bit more of a stretch. So you take that front foot forward, you bend forward, so you're leaning on that front leg. Take your hands, palms to the mat on the inside of your foot, And just stretch there, taking that chest, you're lowering the chest towards the mat to feel that inside stretch. And again, if you did it on the other side, you may want to see if you can take your elbows to the mat. That's up to you, depends on how flexible you are. It's not the goal to do that, the goal is to stretch out in the hip flexors. And you come back, and as before, you flex that front foot, straighten that leg, take that chest down towards the top of that thigh for a hamstring stretch. And again, as before, can be quite intense, so you breathe into it. And then you come out of it the way you went in, both knees on the floor, and you come back up. You should feel a little bit more stretched off. In the whole of the groin area, hopefully, but definitely down through the front. Hope that works for you. Let me know how that gets on.